Imagine this. You're dropped into a prehistoric jungle, face to face with a snarling caveman who's built like a tank and has survived saber-tooth attacks. No phone, no tools, just you and your wits. Could you outlast him in a brutal fight for survival, or would you be lunch by sundown? Let's dive into the ultimate showdown. Modern you versus ancient humans in a death match for the ages. Picture this. It's 50,000 years ago, and you're standing in a freezing tundra, wind cutting through you like a knife. No jacket, no shoes, just you against a world where everything wants you dead. This was the caveman's daily reality. Ancient humans, like Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens, didn't just survive. They thrived in environments that would break most of us in hours. These guys were tough, not because they wanted to be, but because they had no choice. One wrong move and you're a saber-tooth's dinner. Their world was a gauntlet of predators, starvation, and brutal weather. Imagine waking up every day knowing you might have to wrestle a wolf or outrun a bear just to eat. That's the baseline for survival back then. Cavemen were built for this chaos. Physically, they were powerhouses, stocky, muscular, with bones denser than ours. Studies show Neanderthals had 20% more muscle mass than the average modern human. They could lift heavier, hit harder, and take blows that would send you to the ER. But it wasn't just their bodies. Their brains were wired for survival, constantly scanning for threats. No Netflix, no coffee breaks, just pure, raw instinct. They hunted megafauna like mammoths with nothing but sharpened sticks and teamwork. Ever tried taking down a 10-ton beast with a pointy rock? Yeah, didn't think so. Their environment shaped them into machines of resilience. No hospitals, no grocery stores, no safety nets. If you got injured, you either healed on your own or you didn't make it. This brutal world demanded toughness we can barely fathom today. Could you handle that kind of pressure, or would you crack on day one? So what made cavemen so good at staying alive? It wasn't just brute strength, though that helped. They had skills honed over generations, passed down through blood and necessity. First up, hunting. These guys were apex predators, not because they were faster or stronger than a lion, but because they were smarter. They crafted tools from flint and bone, turning rocks into deadly spears. Archaeologists have found spear points embedded in mammoth bones, proof they took down giants with precision. They didn't just hunt, they strategized, tracking animals for days, reading tracks and setting traps. Ever tried stalking a deer without a rifle? It's not exactly a walk in the park. Then there's their knowledge of the wild. Cavemen were walking encyclopedias of their environment. They knew which plants healed, which poisoned, and which berries wouldn't leave you doubled over. They could start fires with nothing but sticks and grit, a skill most of us would fumble for hours. And don't forget their social game. Ancient humans lived in tight-knit groups, relying on trust and cooperation. If you slacked off, the whole tribe suffered. Imagine trying to survive a winter with no food because your buddy didn't pull his weight. Yeah, teamwork wasn't optional. It was life or death. These skills weren't learned in a classroom. They were forged in a world where mistakes meant extinction. Every day was a test, and passing meant you got to see tomorrow. Think you could match their know-how with your modern smarts? Or would you be begging for a survival manual within hours? Haha, surviving wasn't just about muscles or tools. Cavemen had a mental toughness that's almost alien to us. Their minds were built for one thing, staying alive. They didn't have time for overthinking or self-doubt. Every decision was high stakes, from choosing a campsite to deciding whether to fight or flee. Hesitate too long, and you're dead. This gave them a razor-sharp focus we've lost in our comfy modern lives. Studies suggest their brains were just as complex as ours, but wired differently, geared for split-second survival calls rather than scrolling X or stressing about emails. They also had grit we can't imagine. Imagine watching your friend get mauled by a cave bear, then going back to hunting the next day. That's not just courage. It's a whole different mindset. They dealt with constant loss, friends, family, entire tribes wiped out by disease or disaster. Yet they kept going. No therapy, no support groups, just raw resilience. And they had to be adaptable. One day you're in a forest, the next you're crossing an icy mountain with no map. They learned fast or they didn't survive. This mental edge made them unstoppable. They didn't just endure, they dominated a world that was trying to kill them 24/7. Could your mind handle that kind of relentless pressure? Or would you be curled up, wishing for Wi-Fi and a pizza delivery? Next, we'll see how you stack up against these ancient warriors. All right, let's flip the script. You're not a caveman. You're a modern human with a brain full of 21st century know-how. That's gotta count for something in this prehistoric death match, right? You've got access to centuries of science, tech, and problem-solving skills that cavemen could only dream of. Imagine explaining germ theory to a Neanderthal. They'd think you're a wizard. You know fire needs oxygen, wounds need cleaning, and water needs boiling to avoid getting sick. That's a huge edge. A caveman might drink from a muddy river and spend the next week doubled over. But you'd know better. Your education, even the basic stuff, gives you a leg up. You've got a mental library of facts, math, physics, basic biology that could help you outsmart ancient challenges. Need to build a shelter? You understand leverage and structural basics, even if you're no architect. Plus, you've got problem-solving skills honed by modern life. Ever fixed a Wi-Fi router or figured out a tricky app? That's the kind of creative thinking cavemen didn't need, but it could save your skin in their world. You might not know how to nap flint, but you could probably MacGyver a tool out of whatever's lying around. Still, knowledge alone won't make you king of the prehistoric jungle. You've got to apply it under pressure, with no Google to bail you out. Could you really turn your high school science into a survival plan when a wolf pack's circling? That's the real test. Let's see what else you're bringing to this fight. Now, let's talk about your body. Compared to a caveman, you're probably not looking like a UFC champ. Ancient humans were built like tanks. Dense bones, thick muscles, and a frame forged by constant physical struggle. You? Well, maybe you hit the gym sometimes, but most of us are shaped by desks, couches, and Uber Eats. The average modern human is taller but less robust, with weaker bones and less muscle mass. Studies show we've got about 10 to 20% less muscle density than our prehistoric ancestors. That's a problem when you're wrestling a guy who's been chasing deer for breakfast, but it's not all bad news. You've got advantages they didn't. Modern nutrition means you're likely healthier in some ways, less likely to have rickets or scurvy, thanks to your access to varied food. You've also got endurance potential. Cavemen were sprinters, built for short, intense bursts. If you're a runner or cyclist, your cardio could let you outlast them in a long chase. And don't forget medical know-how. You'd know to splint a broken arm or clean a cut, while a caveman might just tough it out and risk infection. Here's the catch, though. Your body's used to comfort. Air conditioning, soft beds, and grocery stores have made you, let's be honest, a bit soft. Could you sleep on frozen ground or go days without food? Your mind might know the tricks, but your body's not ready for the prehistoric grind. Thoughtful. Let's dig into that next. Your brain's your biggest asset. but it's also your Achilles heel. Modern life has wired you for convenience, not survival. Cavemen had to make split-second decisions, fight, flee, or freeze, with no room for overthinking. You're used to analyzing, scrolling, and second-guessing. That hesitation could get you killed in a world where a rustle in the bushes might mean a lion. Your mind's cluttered with distractions, deadlines, notifications, that argument you had on X last week. Cavemen didn't have that noise. Their focus was laser sharp. Survive or die. Then there's resilience. Ancient humans dealt with death and danger daily, losing friends to predators or starvation, and still pushing on. Cuckle, you might crumble just losing your phone signal. Mental toughness isn't your strong suit when you're used to comfort zones. Studies suggest modern anxiety levels are sky high compared to what we infer about prehistoric humans, whose stress was immediate and physical, not chronic. Could you handle watching a saber-tooth rip through your camp and still sleep that night? But you've got one mental edge: adaptability through learning. You're trained to solve problems with information, not just instinct. If you could stay calm, you might outsmart a caveman by planning better traps or shelters. The question is, can you channel that brain power when the stakes are life or death? Next, we'll put it all to the test in the ultimate showdown.
All right, it's go time. You're dropped into a prehistoric wilderness. Think dense forest, jagged cliffs, and a river that's more mud than water. Your opponent? A grizzled caveman. Let's call him Gronk, who's been surviving this hellscape his whole life. He's got a spear, a flint knife, and a glare that says you're not making it to tomorrow. You've got your modern brain, maybe a backpack with some basics, and whatever grit you can muster. The challenge: survive 24 hours in a death match where only one of you walks away. This isn't just a fist fight, it's about outlasting, outsmarting, and outsurviving. First up, the environment is your biggest enemy. It's freezing at night, scorching by day, and predators are everywhere. Gronk knows every inch of this terrain, where the wolves hunt, which berries won't kill you, and how to find water. You're probably lost already, second-guessing every step. But you've got a trick up your sleeve: logic. You can map the terrain in your head, using the sun to navigate, or spotting patterns in animal tracks. Gronk's instincts are sharp, but your ability to plan could give you an edge. Maybe you climb a tree to avoid a bear while he's busy fighting it off. Smart, right? The clock's ticking, and survival means staying sharp. Gronk's used to hunger and pain, but you're already missing your morning coffee. Can you keep your head in the game when your stomach's growling and a storm's rolling in? Let's see how this fight starts. Now it's getting real. You and Gronk cross paths, and it's clear only one of you is getting out alive. He's charging with a spear, muscles rippling like a pro wrestler. Physically, he's got you beat. His bones are denser, his arms are like tree trunks, and he's thrown punches at things way scarier than you. If this is a straight-up brawl, you're in trouble. A single hit from Gronk could crack your ribs. Studies show Neanderthals had grip strength double the average modern humans. Your gym sessions? Cute, but not enough. But you're not helpless. You've got strategy. Maybe you dodge his spear using agility he doesn't expect from his usual prey. You've seen enough action movies to know a well-placed kick or a rock to the head could even the odds. Plus, you understand leverage. Grab a stick, turn it into a makeshift weapon, and suddenly you're not just a punching bag. If you can keep your distance, you might tire him out. Cavemen were built for short bursts, not marathons. If you're a runner, you could kite him, staying just out of reach until he's gasping. The problem? One mistake, and you're done. Gronk doesn't hesitate. He's killed before, whether it's animals or rival tribes. You're fighting your conscience as much as him. Can you really go all in? Or will your modern morals hold you back? The fight's heating up, but survival's more than just fists.
Let's see who's got the brains to win.
This deathmatch isn't just about muscle. It's about who's smarter when the chips are down. Gronk's got instinct honed by a lifetime of danger. He can read the forest like a book, spotting traps you'd stumble into blind. But you've got a modern mind, packed with problem-solving tricks. Maybe you build a snare from vines, something Gronk's never seen, catching him off guard. Or you use your knowledge of fire to create a smoke signal, confusing him while you slip away. Your brain's built for innovation, and that's your ace. Still, Gronk's no dummy. His survival skills are hardwired. Archaeologists say ancient humans planned hunts days in advance, using teamwork and strategy. If he lures you into a trap, like a narrow ravine where his spear's deadly, you're toast. Your biggest weakness? Panic. Modern life's made you soft under pressure, while Gronk thrives in chaos. If you freeze when a wolf howls nearby, he'll capitalize. So, who wins? Thoughtful. If you play dirty and stay calm, your smarts could outwit his brawn. But if you hesitate or rely on physical strength, Gronk's got you. Honestly, most of us would crumble under the relentless stress of his world. You're tougher than you think, but surviving a caveman's life takes more than book smarts. It takes guts.
So, could you take on a caveman in a death match? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you're team modern human, and subscribe for more epic showdowns. Next time, we'll uncover another mind-blowing secret from the prehistoric world.